We've got to talk about the Chinese economy a little bit more, but it's obviously far worse than the Chinese government ever wants to admit, okay? Because what we're seeing now is a huge amount of unemployment.
Yeah.
And dire straits for people.
Yeah, this is where we're going to get into a little detail about how bad it's been getting for people in China. And there's a lot of ways to measure that metric. I think a popular topic in China right now amongst young people is the idea that the Chinese dream is not what we were told in school.
Yes.
The Chinese dream being that everyone deserves moderate prosperity, everyone deserves a job, everyone deserves a livelihood. It's not crazy and unrealistic like the American dream, where you might get rich, you might die trying, right?
Sure.
The Chinese dream is more secure. Let the government, put your trust in the government, and they'll take care of everything. You won't necessarily be wildly rich, but you'll have enough, and you'll be able to survive. The reason that idea of and by the way, doesn't that dream sound ridiculous?
Yeah.
Such a
There's
no hope there. That's kind of like, I'll just let things happen. Hopefully the government works out.
I know. It's
who trusts their government enough in any country?
Sure.
Never mind China.
Yeah, exactly.
To take care of you, the country without any social programs.
It's pretty
Anyway,
bad.
long story short, a lot of young people's conversation right now, when they have these phenomenons like lie flat, let it rot, right? All of these apathetic...
I got a new one for you today.
Oh, that's coming soon.
Yeah.
all of these catchphrases that the Chinese government bans are signs of an apathetic populace, because the Chinese populace, the young Chinese populace, is at an all-time high unemployment rate. And so this idea that you're going to get the iron rice bowl where you get rice and oil and everything you need to survive, you might not be super rich, but the government will take care of you, is vanishing before people's eyes right now. The economic downturn means that a lot of people, a huge swath of the population, cannot find jobs anymore. The ones that do find jobs out of university are not painting a rosy picture either, because their salaries are so dismal, it's not enough to support them, never mind their parents and grandparents, especially being only children.
Yeah.
So this disillusionment is coming to the forefront, I think, a lot faster than the Chinese government wanted it to. And we're seeing symptoms of just an enormous amount of people fleeing.
Yes.
An enormous amount of people running from China to come to places like England, the EU. Australia is a massive one. Canada, probably the biggest.
Sure.
And also in the US.
Yeah, I thought we'd go over this. Now, listen, it's unprecedented. This last year, within the first 11 months, September, October, November, we're talking over 31,000 Chinese nationals were arrested crossing the border illegally into the USA. All right? Which is 10 times more than the year before. We're looking at a huge,
10 times increase.
We're huge amounts coming over. And we're going to talk about this a little bit because it actually stems from something. Here you can see some photos from the Associated Press of literal caravans of Chinese people coming over the border illegally, okay? And this is because they're all taking part of this new thing called Runology, okay, which means... It's kind of a funny play on words, because I think run means to like moisten, something like that. But because it's run, and it's spelled in pinyin, R-U-N, like run. So it's basically study running, okay, or runology.
Study running.
It's the study of absconding and fleeing from and abandoning China, okay? This is something that's new. And this is something that, I did talk about it in a previous video, but this is something that's really caught on, all right? The Chinese economy is so bad that middle-class people, not even just the poor are down on their luck, but middle-class and even well-to-do people are simply doing runology, okay?
Runology.
Yeah, runology, which is the study of fleeing China and coming to the US illegally. Okay, how this works is it's now become like a cottage industry. Yeah. It's pretty simple. There are a number of ways you can do this, and it's all out there on the open on the Chinese internet. That's the thing that's, again, kind of mind-boggling about the Chinese internet, is that you can get information on how to do illegal things just out there, okay? Yes. I did a video about how birth tourism was a thing, how they teach you and coach you how to cross the border and lie about the fact that you're going on a holiday in order to have birth in America, for instance, so you can open up trust funds and get your kid to have an American passport and all that. That's out there. It's out there. You can go read it. Sure. I translated some websites on my video. Now with runology, it's the same. They coach people on how to get to America illegally. Now, there's a couple of ways. The two most popular ways to do it is, number one, is you go down to Ecuador because you don't need a visa if you're a Chinese national.
Oh, it's visa-free for Chinese.
You pop in there, and then they've got a whole route that you take. But it's all step-by-step on social media. They tell you how to do it. They tell you which place to go to, what hotels to stay in, which guides to hire, which buses to take. And there's a whole process. It is a pretty long and arduous journey, but it's all set out for you. So if you're willing to go through like about a month of discomfort traveling here and there and taking a boat and a this and a that, you can get all the way up to the border, and they've got people that help you along the way and make sure that you'll make it there. And then they tell you what to do, which I'll tell you in a minute, once you get to the American border. The other way, if you've got money, is you simply fly into Europe, and from Europe into Mexico, and then you can just cross from Mexico. So, it depends on who you are, what your background is. There's different routes for you to take. But at the end of the day, what they do tell you to do is that you must get arrested by border patrol, ICE or whatever. But you must come through San Diego.
Oh, okay.
98% of all the arrests of Chinese nationals crossing the border have been in San Diego in September of last year anyway. So what you do is you get arrested, because then they will ask, and then you do the asylum seeking thing, right?
So they're all going for asylum.
Yeah, that's what they say, okay?
Gotcha.
Then they will say, well, where is your destination? Like, what's the address that you're intending to go to? And they'll all say, like, New York. Mm-hmm. And then what they do is they give you a court date to arrive on in New York, and the system's so backed up, it's like a long ways away. So they give you a court date, like you must appear in court at this and this and this place. They're Catholic charity organizations and stuff. They put them up for the night in a hotel or whatever. And then, the people that are coming over the border, they've got money prepared to take a flight directly to New York. And then they've already got jobs lined up.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so because I told you it's a cottage industry, right? So there are a lot of businesses that want cheap labor.
Yeah.
Okay. And so jobs in construction, jobs in restaurants and things like that are already lined up for them. Right. All illegal jobs, obviously. You can't work legally, but it's all set up. And so when you do this Runology thing, it's basically the study of how to get to and enter America illegally. And then you've got work and you've got accommodation, everything set up for you, right? That's why you're seeing this being such an attractive thing for people to leave their lives in China, go through this fairly arduous journey if you take the Ecuadorian route, or of course, if you've got some money, you just go and fly into Mexico.
How does this Ecuador thing work? I don't understand. It's in South America.
Yeah, you come up through South America.
Yeah, but what do you do after Ecuador? Go walk in the ocean?
No, they take boats and stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then they've got you go through the Darien Gap and everything.
Oh, gotcha.
There is a jungle section where you have to walk through the jungle, but they have guides.
Rough.
Yeah, look, it's rough. It's not like a let's lay back and take a tour.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's also something that's completely laid out and it's all ready to do.
Right.
Anyway, so you make it all the way up into the US, and then you get an opportunity to go and live your life, right? So this has become an attractive thing, so attractive that we've had so many people come over the border. Here's a little thing.
President Biden's meeting with China's president, we turn now to a story about the big increase in Chinese migrants coming through the U.S. border down in Mexico. Border Patrol agents arrested more than 24,000 Chinese people for crossing the U.S. southern border illegally over the past year through September. That's more than 10 times higher than the previous year, and part of the overall rise in illegal border crossings that has made headlines. Elizabeth Palmer shows us why the Chinese migrants are willing to risk everything for a chance to make it to America.
Yeah, so basically what I was talking to you before, this is the reality of it, is you've got so many people leaving China to come to America illegally, and not only America, other countries too.
Yeah.
But that's just an indication of how bad the Chinese economy is, and especially after COVID, where they locked down all these businesses and stuff.
Yeah, I just want to read a couple quotes. This makes a lot of sense. Because think about it. You wouldn't leave unless you had a reason to leave. Like a 10 times increase is crazy.
In a year.
In a year, right?
Yeah.
10 times. So think about this. I just want to read a couple quotes from that BBC article, which pertains to this.
Yeah.
It says, the entire life of young people has been shaped by the idea, if you study hard, then at the end of your hard work, there will be a job and a highly paid, decent life waiting for you.
Yeah.
And now they find out that this promise is no longer working. So what do? Well, in China, you're faced with Chinese propaganda, which tells you everywhere else is bad. Yeah. But at the same time, reality creeps through, right? People can still talk to each other. People still have family abroad. They know that things aren't that bad and that there's opportunities, right?
Yeah.
So people end up realizing that, hey, what's better than abject unemployment and no future for me and government censorship and increased government crackdowns?
Yeah.
Probably going to somewhere in the West, right?
Yep.
And that's just becoming a more and more popular idea for a lot of people.
It's correct.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah. There's another quote. The jobs in China, they don't have good prospects for your future. They offer low salaries and you are easily replaceable. That's why most people would rather stay at home. And that makes sense. There's so many jobs now that you don't have job security in China, like whatsoever. Whereas there's a huge, huge market for jobs abroad, especially in places like the US.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck in a situation where over 20% of people your age cannot get a job, and then when you do get a job, you're replaced by someone that's more, I don't know, fits the position better, like this with no repercussions, of course you're going to leave. Yeah. Of course you're going to leave, right? It's pretty crazy.
Especially when it's laid out for you on social media. Think about it.
Yeah.
If you're in a bad situation and you start seeing popping all over up on your social media, go to America, this is how you do it. And you've got, obviously, companies profit from this. People pay money. Yeah. It's not like you're just going to go there by yourself. You pay guides and you pay people to like sort you all out and get you on the road. I was reading, the people that fly into Mexico and stuff anyway pay upwards of $50,000 for this whole process.
Right.
The cheaper ones, you still have to pay people along the way. So it's a money scheme. It's a cottage industry, right?
Sure.
But at the end of the day, this is what happens. But there's been a pretty interesting case that's come out of all of this. And I wanted to talk about this because there's this guy who is, I don't know, it's hard to really explain the situation. But he's both irritating, but also a very good, almost propaganda for America, if you want to put it that way, which I'll talk about in a minute. Remember, by the way, the Chinese people crossing the border illegally, they want to get arrested because it's part of the whole process.
Oh, gotcha.
They're not like running over the border to try and hide in the bushes or something. They actually, the whole purpose is once they're over the border, they walk up to the Border Patrol and be like, hey, I'm here.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Remember, that's part of this whole Runology, like checklist. There's just a playbook, a checklist, right?
Gotcha.
So I wanted to talk about this guy. He calls himself Professor Fatman Ding. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So Professor Fatman Ding has become a celebrity in China. And basically he came to America. The exact circumstances under which he came to America, I don't know if he was one of these Runology guys or not. But he came to work and then he was dissatisfied with the jobs he was offered. Because he was offered like basically construction work and restaurant work. So he's like, screw it.
Stuff, yeah.
He was like, screw it. I'm not going to be taken advantage of. I'm just going to go out there and be homeless. So he made a name and he's got over 2 million followers in China. He's a celebrity. Okay, so he's got a massive following in China. He live streams being homeless in America. Okay, but he's both been hailed as a hero and he's also pissed a lot of people off at the same time. Okay, because what he does is, I'll show you a couple of clips, is he's basically a food critic for homeless handouts.
Very entertaining.
Yeah.
打开看一下啊，猜的没错啊，好像是一块提拉米苏，对吧，兄弟们？
That cake looked good.
Yeah, that cake did look good. I'm surprised at the quality of food that homeless people get.
Yeah.
But again, it's a great advert for America, isn't it?
Right.
Because you would never be able to get something like that in China.
No. Well, there's no homeless handouts.
Yeah, there isn't. Yeah. And I mean, so anyway, he goes around and I took this from his Bilibili. He's got a Bilibili account. And you can see, like, goes around.
I want food. I'm very, very hungry. What? Yeah. Oh. 太好吃了吧，兄弟们！你们看一下，里面全是牛肉啊，满满。
So he live streams. He's a live streamer. I'm still a little baffled by the whole homeless live streamer phenomenon. You said it's a real thing.
Yeah, in
just
the US as well. There's a bunch of American homeless live streamers. I guess it's entertaining for a lot of people, you know what I mean? But it's also it's a struggle because it's dramatic, right?
Yeah. Well, basically, his day goes like this, at least in the beginning, is he lives in a tent. He makes a mess there. The the local government comes and puts a notice saying they're going to clean up. He moves his tent to the other side of the road. They clean up. He moves his tent back. He goes to the public library to charge all his devices and stuff. And then he goes, hangs around in Skid Row and tries all the different, all-you-can-eat buffet type things that are out there for homeless people, which is it is fascinating to look at because unless you've actually, done it yourself, you don't know what's out there, right?
这边也在发饭，这边也在发饭，兄弟们，好难抉择啊！我操，重大失误啊！我刚才选的是左边的那一家啊。那么咱们又去找了一。
So he just goes and he's a food critic, and he'll also be like, I don't like this coffee, throws it away, and says I can be picky here in America because there's so much choice. If you read the articles about him,
right.
But anyway, he started to get both praised.
Like every other person that live streams on this.
Well, yeah, homeless people, right? Yeah. But he became, like I said, a celebrity in China. So you had a group of people like cheering him on, saying like, yes, take advantage of America, screw them. But then you also have another group of people, especially Chinese people abroad, who are like, listen, dude, you're giving us a bad name. You're making us lose face here. What are you doing? So when he started to get his pushback, he did this really annoying thing, which is he started to go around pretending he's Japanese.
不是啊，这个是正儿八经的这个收容所的标准餐啊，看起来就比刚才这个野怪这个要好得多啊，兄弟。知道我为啥之前啥也不吃了吗？
I gotta say, this
给
looks
你
like a
们近
party.
距离
though.
感受
You
一
get
下白条的
barbecue.
喜悦。它这边是有沙拉，还有里面这个土豆啊，这土豆这个月以来啊，要的最好。
Again, like I was saying, this is a great, it's great like advertisement for America, how nice America is. Because if you're homeless, you can eat like a freaking king, I can't even cook a chicken that nice.
I know you can't.
Yeah, I can't. I know you could cook way better.
I mean, let's be honest. Being homeless is horrible.
Of course it's horrible.
A horrible struggle and horrible. But he's obviously... I think a lot of people here are able to figure out how it works. And I think a lot of people are charitable.
Yes.
And that's nice. I think that's really good that people have an outlet to have a little less comfortable... or a little more comfortable life.
Well, that's the point I'm trying to make here, is that in China, you would never get this.
No.
So when I'm saying it's a good advert for America, it is, because the people that are in dire straits in China, they look at this
in comparison,
they're like, holy crap.
There's no comparison there.
Yeah, it's like, holy crap, look at what you can get if you're homeless. Look how well America takes care of the homeless people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In comparison to China, obviously.
Yeah.
So he does his food critic thing.
兄弟们，太好吃了！我的妈呀，太好吃了！明天就没有
He's just saying, oh, it's so delicious, everybody. It's so good.
通便果这个
he does it well. Like he's entertaining.
Yeah.
I like the whole food review aspect.
Yeah,
it's like
pretty
very. It's a talk about a novel idea, by the way. It's like all the homeless food handouts. Like which one is better?
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's novel.
发放吗？
Anyway, like I said, he started to get some pushback. So then, the thing is, there's this massive rivalry between China and Japan. There's this hatred toward Japan and China because of what happened during World War II, right? We all know that. We covered it on the show. So when he started to get pushback from Chinese people, he started to do this thing pretending to be Japanese, obviously to curry favor with the nationalists again,
Yeah, I don't think I think that's a thing to save your reputation amongst the Chinese following, because a lot of them will be upset that, hey, we're supposed to be wealthy, and you know what I mean? Yeah. So I get it.
At the same time, though, like, if you are doing that, it means what you're doing is bad.
No, that part, you shouldn't be pretending to be another nationality anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if your safety relies on it, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
为什么没见过那么多通便果？
Well, let's take a look. Oh yeah, hang on. Thing is, again, he's made himself a celebrity, showing how you can take advantage of things in America. Like filling up a gallon thing of soda.
属实一点牛逼了，看镜头了。
Or whatever at a shop.
主要是不给充电，对吧？
And he shows people like you can you can buy something and then break it and take it in for a replacement at a shop, that kind of thing. He's become famous in China for showing how you can kind of game the system in America, if that makes sense.
I want milk. Oh, only. I come from Japan. 我的希望小小特别是挑战呐，地球我去淘汰。看那眼泪。哦，兄弟们，居然黑姐给我发食物啊，很开心啊。God bless you. Thank you. Hey, miss. In fact, you are very, very gorgeous. I love you. God bless you. 兄弟们啊，要不完了啊，要不完了。I want drink.
I think he's got a good attitude. Sure, he's nice to people. I like the God bless you. I like the you're gorgeous.
Thank
That's
you,
nice.
sir.
Floating for you.
Thank you, miss.
Don't need to shout it at them.
Let's be honest, it's a Chinese
兄弟们，
live
他也想
streamer,
录我
bro.
没
That's
事，让他
what you
录。
do.
I come from Japan. Yeah.
That's how Chinese live streaming works.
Do you know? Yeah.
I ain't never been over there. I would like to go over there though.
Okay. Let's get it.
Nice. Picking up some good colloquialisms too.
Yeah, anyway, so people obviously became famous and people donated a camper to him with like
That's cool.
solar power and everything.
That's great.
So he's like continuing his
leveling
homeless journey across looks like Southern California. He's in downtown LA is where he started. And he's basically now got this camper which he's got some friends I guess that have joined him now and drive him around and stuff and take him places, and he has his little camper which he
I think it's cool that he's got
up.
a following, and I like that he's improving his situation. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And again, I think it shows the hospitality of it, and like whoever he runs into, people helping out. That's a great thing. That's positive energy.
That's what I was saying. This is propaganda, good propaganda for America.
Yeah,
because it shows you.
But it's not propaganda.
Well, soft power.
Yeah, soft power.
It shows you that China constantly goes on about how crappy America is, and look at the homeless people on the streets and all that kind of thing. But it shows you that it's possible, if you come to America as a homeless person, to not only be able to eat well, but to improve your life to a point where, look at him now, he's basically going on a road trip adventure across Southern California in a camper.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of opportunity, and it shows you that America is a great place.
Yeah.
At the
I mean,
end of
if
the
in a simplified version, obviously people have their own struggles and it's terrible, but to see someone improve on their situation and be able to gain an audience doing so, and at least for the most part, what I'm seeing spread nice positive energy, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see that he's got such a big following in China, because you'd think that China wouldn't like this. And I think at the beginning they like it because he's showing the other homeless encampments and the things that China's always pumping out there.
I think it's morphing into something else.
I think it's morphing into a situation where it's kind of like, wow, this is actually really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's rooting for the guy. Like everyone's like helping out.
Yeah.
And it's just something unattainable in China because of the government.
Yes.
And that's kind of maybe the opposite effect of what was intended.
Yes, I think that's probably, and that's
for the Chinese government.
That's why I'll be honest, I've got very mixed feelings about the guy, because when he's been around for a while now, at least,
Sure.
I've been seeing his stuff pop up for a couple months now, right?
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I was kind of pissed off that he's going around flaunting how easy it is to take advantage of the system, right? Because I've shown some he does stuff that most normal people wouldn't do because it's just like not the thing to do.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. That's exactly what I see on homeless streamer TikTok. That's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, he's advertising it to China.
Sure.
He's like, come here.
I see what you're saying.
Come
It's
here,
not for
like
the
to
American
2 million
audience.
people in China. Come to America, and you can, basically take advantage
Sure.
of this and game the system this way. So I wasn't really like impressed, but
I gotcha.
like I said, I got mixed feelings because the more it went on, the more I could see that it had a positive ending.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It shows that he was homeless for a month or two, like messing about doing this stuff, and he got a huge following, and he's got people looking after him, setting him up with a camper van, taking him around. He's got like a huge thing going. And again, it just shows you that the opportunities in America are real for anyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Really, they are. So that's why I'm a bit mixed on the guy. But either way, it's a complete symptom as to what's going on in China. Because if China's economy was doing great, you wouldn't have people like him coming.
Yeah, it's just to bring it back to can you put on that BBC thing? This goes back to the Gen Z thing. It's young people that we're seeing exacerbated with the problems in China right now. Yeah. It's the young people. And this is interesting because usually we saw the old people struggling in China. You still do. You go to any rural village, it's the old people that are bent over.
That's horrible to see because it's people that are like older than your grandparents carrying sticks with like a, heavy produce or whatever, toiling in the farms. Yeah.
Because there's no social programs that help
There's nothing,
them. So, and we've covered this before where they're getting almost no stipends, it's like, life is dire for them. But that was the dire generation, and all the young people when we were in China was like, well, when they're gone, when our grandparents are gone, our great-grandparents are gone, life will improve and things like, not that they don't love them, but it's like that's kind of what's holding everything back because they grew up in the hard times, but it's not hard times anymore.
Yeah.
But now we're seeing the old people and then the young people be like, life is getting bad here.
Yeah.
It's getting bad to where we need to seek shelter elsewhere.
Yeah.
And those problems are manifesting now. We're seeing them actually in data and in immigration and whatever, you know, like people leaving. And that's the stat that China really doesn't want people to see because then the utopian dream it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real.
I can't remember which body it was, whether it was the UN or something, but they estimated that there'll be at least 310,000 Chinese people leaving this year, immigrating this year from China at least.
Yes.
And that's probably quite realistic if you think about it, legally and illegally, you know, both.
I would say tastes like industrial runoff.
This snack is just a menace to society.
I'm not looking forward to this.
It's kind of like hell.
It's hell.
It's hell. Like
not kind of like hell. This is what hell probably is.
You don't want to be eating something that came out of an industrial park in China.
Oh, it smells like meat.
It it does smell like meat. It smells like dog food.
Oh, does it? Oh, it really does. These are so preserved.
Yeah.
You could put this in a mummy's tomb. Tastes a little bit like cigarette ash.
It's just rubber. Look at that. It's bendy. Look at it. It's rubber, dude.
Woo! That was a spectacular feast.
When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs.